We are standing on the platform in which you get on the train, going either way. This is the platform you stand on. Across from that, you'll just see the Mexican restaurant, and then as you turn around, you'll see where the bike rack is. And looking behind there, see the red brick building? That is a parking garage. On Saturday and Sunday, there is no charge. Walking down the platform, you'll see Bob walking into the waiting room. That's him with the yellow shoes. So we're going to look at in there in just a minute. But if you see the thing that looks like half of an octagon sticking out, that's the part of the station you can't get into. It's only open from 9 to 5, and I think that's Monday through Friday. It's almost like a miniature museum, and it has some historical artifacts and interesting things. I'll try and get some shots of that later in the video. But for now, let's go into the waiting room. Yep, that was Bob. There's a waiting room with a couple of benches. And, oh yeah, that's right, I forgot about that. It's a model of the station, and there are two clean, tiny and old, but clean restrooms in there. There's a little window that's glassed over, and you can kind of see into the visitor center. Again, I'll get some more shots. And here's the women's restroom. It's nothing cutting edge, but it's been maintained well, and everything's in good repair. There's a handicap stall and a regular stall, and in the handicap stall, there's a place to change a baby, rails for mobility and balance, and a sink. Back out on the platform, there's another bench and some really charming, kind of historical sculptures. They're really beautiful. And a trash can, and as you walk around the corner from here, you'll see a smoking section. There's also some signs. This is the visitor center that I was talking about. It's on that end of the station. And there's a board that talks about the history of Manassas and the railroad. And as you walk around, you'll see these big, wide double doors. I'm guessing that these are from where they used to use it for either luggage, or they had to load freight, or maybe even mail. I don't know. If anybody knows what those doors are for, I would love to know. But anyway, if you walk up the ramp, if it had been after 9 o'clock, we could have gone into the visitor center. But we had an early train, and we were leaving for Roanoke. So it's here's some good shots. So this is what it looks like inside. And I do plan on going back and getting some shots of it later. But it won't be on this video. And if you're wondering, how did she get that without the glare? Well, this is how I learned. I thought it was going to be hard, and then I found out if you put the phone right up against the glass, well, you can actually get a pretty good shot. So, hey, I learned something today. Also, there are some really, really, really loud birds in Manassas in the morning. Anyway, it's a pretty small station, so you don't have to get here like an hour in advance like Union Station in Chicago or DC. But it's probably not a bad idea to get here, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 minutes in advance. But anyway, the train is coming. And just like most of the shorter East Coast routes, it's right on time. This is our seat setup. I believe these are Fleet 1 coaches. Both of our tray tables worked with no problems this time. And to the left, along the wall, there is a place where you can charge a device or your phone, but you will need an adapter. Pulling out of Manassas, we are headed toward Roanoke. So the entire journey is only about 4 hours, which is really nice. And Culpeper is actually less than an hour away from Manassas. So that's where we're headed now. So we're approaching Culpeper now. This is, not gonna lie, this is not a very interesting stop. The most interesting thing is like as we leave, you'll see a cemetery that's been revamped several times. In the Civil War, it was a mass grave, and at a couple different spots they went in, cleaned it all up, and made it look better. But other than that, there's not a whole lot here at Culpeper. My apologies to anyone who is from Culpeper. I also apologize for the dirt on the windows. If it makes you feel any better, well, these are the windows that we looked out of on the entire journey too. So, they're fine. Charlottesville is coming up, but as you can see, there is the cemetery. And after we get past these trees, you will see a little bit more of the backside of the cemetery. It is very much a don't blink or you'll miss it. And there it is. Yep, there it is. Shortly after leaving Culpeper, my youngest decided that they were hungry, so we decided to go down to the cafe car. There's no dining car, just a cafe car. I'm going to run through the menu really quick here, so if you want to see it better, just go ahead and pause it. You can also find it on the Amtrak website. But anyway, they have some options here. It's not like super cheap, but it's also not breathtakingly expensive either. I would say, between a meal and some drinks, you're probably going to get out of here for about between $10 to $12 per person. They got macaroni and cheese and an unsweet iced tea. Both were just fine, and I got a Diet Coke. As for the rest of us, I had packed a cooler. Amtrak has no problem with you bringing food and drinks of your own. The one thing they do ask, well, they don't ask. It's a rule. You cannot bring your own alcohol on board unless you are in a roomette. You can buy alcohol at the cafe car. That's not a problem, but you're not supposed to bring your own. In my experience on trains, I have found that they don't really get all up in your business if you are not already creating a problem. But the official rule is you can't bring your own alcohol on board unless you're in a sleeping car. And a little bit here, we're going to be pulling into Charlottesville.
Alright, attention all passengers, now arrive in Charlottesville, Charlottesville is your stop. Please sit down on the door only where you see uniformed Korean personnel. Charlottesville, now arriving.
And we are now leaving Charlottesville, and if I recall correctly, the next stop will be Lynchburg. So Charlottesville, we didn't know it on the way to Roanoke, but there's a lot of people that get on this train in Charlottesville. It was quite a few going to Roanoke, and then on the way back, it was something like 100 college students going back to the DC area on Sunday. And here we are coming into Lynchburg. This was a really surprisingly long platform. I'm not sure why, but it seemed like compared to the other stations, this was a very, very long platform. There is a really cool mural coming up. If I'd known more about what was going to happen this afternoon, I would have looked up at those clouds and go like, oh, wow, it's going to rain. And it did, but luckily at the tail end of the Strawberry Festival. But that's on another video. And here is the mural for Lynchburg. Well, it was there. Those are little train cars. Oh, look, there it is. It's really quite beautiful. The Lynchburg station is called Kemper Street Station. It was built in 1912 and restored in 2002. It's quite large. I've never been in this station, but apparently it's quite beautifully done. And our next stop is Roanoke.
Our final stop will be Roanoke, Virginia.
And our journey's almost over. We're almost to Roanoke. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you liked it, and maybe subscribe.
In just a few moments, we'll be arriving at our final stop, Roanoke. In Roanoke, all doors will be open. Please take the time to gather up your personal belongings in the overhead and on your seat. Once again, soon arriving to Roanoke, all doors will open.
And I know it looks like nothing but trees, but if you look up at the top right, you will soon see one of my favorite museums. Yep, there it is, that spiky triangle there. That is the Tubman. And it's just a great museum, and it's free of charge. And there it is. There's the Tubman. As you come into the Roanoke station, you probably should be aware that there is no station building. Nothing. There's no place to buy tickets. Well, that's like a lot of Amtrak station. There's no restrooms. There's no waiting room. If it's cold, you're going to be cold. If it's hot, you're going to be hot. It is just a platform. It's covered, so you can take shelter from the rain, but that's it. No benches, no station, nothing. Just a covered platform. Bathrooms are at the end of each car, at least on the Amfleet one, which I think these are. There's two at the end of each car. One's a standard restroom and one is handicapped. So a light will indicate whether somebody's in there, and that'll mean it's locked. So if you want to close the door, you should lock it, and that the way the light will come on and somebody will not come in with you. They're kind of small, the standard ones are, but I was kind of surprised at how clean this was, even at the end of an almost 4-hour journey. There's a hook for your coat, and yep, those are the little paper liners that you can put on top of the seat. Reminders to clean up after yourself and hang on. And yep, that's me. I've gotten over mostly my shyness at being in a mirror. But there's towels. There were still even towels at the end of the journey, which is not a guarantee on Amtrak. There's soap. I was really surprised that there wasn't water everywhere. Usually there is. There was a slight odor of pee, but it wasn't like overwhelming or anything. And there's like not even any water on the floor, so not bad. Oh, and I realized I forgot to show you. Oh, that's the trash can, by the way. And this is what the light setup looks like when it's locked. So if the light's on, then you know you've actually successfully locked the door. Congratulations. Okay, so here's the setup in the handicap restroom. It's pretty much the same, except a lot more spacious. There's your seat covers. There's your reminders to clean up after yourself. There's a rail to hang on to if the train's moving a lot, or, if you're unsteady on your feet. Sink, toilet paper where you can reach it from the seat quite easily. And there's also a little feature to the left of the toilet seat called a transfer bench. It flips down. It will bear the weight of an adult if you're getting from a wheelchair onto the seat. Or I suppose you could change a baby on there, because there's no other place to change a baby in this bathroom. And the floors are surprisingly dry and clean for a 4-hour journey at the end of it.